Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Sania, and I am a high school girl. Well, definitely feel like I fell down the rabbit hole. Um, it's kind of surreal because I don't know if I should say this, but I felt a little reluctant coming here at first, just like the halat and just like getting out of my comfort zone. It was really weird, but then I came here and now I don't want to leave. I think it's the raw emotion. Like just the fact that you can come here as you are, but that's not how you end up leaving. This place makes you want to be the better person, and it's not like it like jumps out at you. It's a very gradual thing, and then just all at once, you know that you've changed. Right now, I'm trying to keep it simple. Be the best Muslim I can be consistent, make sure I pray Fajr. That's very important. And just learn as much about Islam as possible, because I feel like we as like people are so used to only focusing on what we're told, but there are books and there are lots of people in this world who know more than we can even imagine, and we need to go out and seek those people. I guess I'm most inspired by Bibi Zainab al-Islam. Not saying that like I'm not less inspired by any other lady of Karbala, but it's just, especially on like Shami Gariba, you hear about how she was like, she had to protect all those women alone, and how she took the sword and was guarding the camp. And you realize how much women are flag bearers in Islam. Just like being here, like this isn't the world that I'm normally used to. Like the heat, the walking, nothing is like how I usually do. And so when I actually step out here, it's not like the hardest thing I've ever done, but it does teach me about things that I'm not used to at all, and learning how to be more comfortable with them. Like, I came to Iraq thinking this was a completely like, barren wasteland of a place, but now I see how like beautiful and how much it's like an oasis, and it's like we're all in the desert. We're the ones who are thirsty, and we're here to get what we need the most. I guess I tell them Karbala is the place that everyone needs to go. It transcends most people's thoughts. Like, we think that a place can only be beautiful or good or holy, but it ends up being all those things at once. And it teaches you about the fact that you can connect with people without ever actually having to meet them in person, or ever having to actually know them, like grown up with them. And you have such a love for this land, and everyone needs to be able to have that. I believe that like just like being here or having to enter the haram, you have to dress a certain way, but that certain way is pretty equal in a sense, because you're kind of leveling down all physical beauty, and then anything that stands out has to be natural and personal. So then you have to end up focusing on yourself and realizing who you are as a person, and that's where the initial beauty comes from. I think not just for girls specifically, but everyone. It's just dunya. Like, we get so caught up in everything else that even like people who had like very basic morals, like being a good person or just being like a punctual and nice character, they get washed away because of how we've created our situation. Like in the West, it's very timely. You have to do everything really quickly. You have to make the most money. You have to be the most successful. And if you don't, then you're basically like worthless. And you come here and you realize that you need none of those things, and you have the most worth out of everyone else. Well, initially, like It's mostly like the people you're around. So if you put yourself around people who are only attracted to things that only the dunya can offer, then you're gonna only want to go to Disneyland or Wonderland or wherever you want to go. But when you grow up in a household where this is the end goal, that you have to come here no matter what, then there's no really other option. Like, you always think of coming here and then you just end up being here.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Shahnaaz. I live in Canada. Well, I'm originally from Singapore, but I married and lived in England, and then we moved to Canada. So now we reside in Canada, and that's home. I think that is the one thing that was always there for us, the faith. We moved, and I think it was very easily done because we were already born into the faith. And so to continue it, we had a lot of opportunities in England. And I think we built a lot of opportunities in Canada. We've had a beautiful new Imam Barga put up. And I think that helps us remind us that there is a faith there and we can follow it so comfortably without any issues as so many people are facing these days. And I think that way we are very fortunate. Being a Muslim living abroad, that may be a challenge, yes. And I think we try harder for that. Actually, we've been WhatsApping my sister who lives in Switzerland. And she was so touched, I think, that we are here. And now the next thing is that she's saying that, yes, we have to come. And my dad has been here several times, and he himself was so, I think, overwhelmed that we are here today, that he wants to come, and he's getting old. So we just was saying that we wanted to do this trip together, and inshallah, maybe we will. Maybe later in the year, hopefully. To me, it has been a privilege, yes, because I think I had issues in my life that I think I needed to be reminded that there is a God, and I have to thank Him. And I have been very fortunate. I have been for Hajj, and the only place that I have not been has been Karbala. And I thought that if I overcome my difficulties, I will make this trip, inshallah. And God has listened to my prayers, and I'm here today in Karbala. And that itself is a miracle for me. It's reminded me more, and to say that it's more of a thank you, as more a thank you. For me, it has been more shukr than anything else. I did not come here for any hajat, I did not, but I just wanted to say thank you. That's, for me, that's very personal, but that's how it is for me. This time my husband was very good. He said, if you want to go, I'll take you. So we're here today, and inshallah my sister wants to come, and my dad, my daughter. It's no reasoning. It is just basically faith and love. We all brought up with the faith. We've been fortunate, like I said, to be born Muslims. But how many of us actually sit down and analyze the fact? But like again, living abroad, you are forced to think and to explain. A lot of people don't understand religion, they don't understand Islam. So it's always nice, the way you behave is when people ask you what you follow. And I think Islam is actually a way of life. It is not a religion, it's a way of life. How you conduct yourself is how people see you, and how you portray yourself to others is how they accept you for what you are. And I think with the faith, we learn akhlaq, we learn how to behave, how to be respectful, to love people, to be human. And I think that's important. I think if the way you behave, like I said, if you behave, people ask you, and you talk about it. I work in an environment where there are no Muslims. Every one of the people that I work with are of different faith. And yet, when we went for Hajj, I used to mention that I'm doing Hajj. Or when we were fasting, they say, oh, you are fasting. And believe me, every second person came up to talk to me about it, to ask me about it. And many of them are not that ignorant that they don't know that it is there. But it is always when you mention Islam, everybody thinks terrorism. So that's another whole story in itself. But when you speak to people and you make them understand, and if they are intellectuals, they will understand that Islam is not terrorism, Islam is humanity. And I think if each person can speak to another person one-on-one, I think we'll get somewhere. I think it is more emotional than a university, to be honest. I think you have to read about it, you have to know a little bit about it. I mean, when you say Karbala, it can be a little bit daunting. I know when I was coming here, when I mentioned Iraq, everybody is like, where, what, how? All kinds of, you get a lot of reaction when you say Iraq. But when I say I'm going on a pilgrimage, that brought on completely a different reaction. And I think it was a more positive reaction. So when they ask me, where are you going to on pilgrimage, and I say Iraq and Karbala, that's when I think it becomes a learning point. So that's when actually you can sort of go on and say more about our Imams and why we are here and what actually happened in this land. That people from all over the world, well, I shouldn't say from all the Muslims from all over the world come here to pay respects.